Hello, hello, you beautiful people. We are here today to rank all of the mystery books that I read in 2022. Now, mystery was my most read genre fiction of 2022, so we are going to chat about all those books here today. There are a couple that I left out for reasons. Let's leave it mysterious because it's the mysterious tier ranking video. So today I'm going to be talking about how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 books today. And let's go ahead and dive in. We're going to start from my least favorite all the way up to my most favorite. And there are some that I disliked and some that I loved. So let's dive in. The first one I just talked about in my December wrap up. So you know that I did not like it if you saw that video. And that is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pearse. Whew, whew. This is by Pamela Dorman Books. And why? Why did they do it? We'll never know. This is part of a series. It's a detective series. And it follows Helene, who is a detective that is going to this very swanky hotel out in the French Alps, I think. Like it's in the middle of nowhere in the snowy mountains. And it used to be a sanatorium, hence the title. There it is there. It is very wintry and atmospheric, so I'll give it that. And that's why I read it in December. But this is about her going to this hotel because her brother, who she's estranged from, is going to be getting married. So she's going to the hotel for their engagement party. While she's there, there is murder, and thus detectiving ensues. This was a no. No, it's a no for me, dog. And whew, let me quickly tell you why. So I said this in my wrap up. In the first 50 pages, so much shit happens that it was just absurd. It was absurd, and I did not like it. So this isn't a spoiler because all this is in the first 50 pages, and this book is long. It's like 400 pages, and it has tiny ass font, like tiny font, tiny. And the first 50 pages, there's 2 murders. She insinuates that her brother, who she's estranged from, might have also murdered her other brother, who died when he was young. And she is in a struggling, crumbling relationship with her partner, who's also there. She recently just went through a traumatic event at work where she was almost murdered by a serial killer and somehow survived and now has PTSD. Her mother has just recently died that she was a caretaker for, and she has been on leave from work because of said almost death and caring for her mother. And then on top of it all, the cherry on top is she goes and we find out that the person her brother is marrying, the one that might be a murderer, is someone that she secretly knew from when she was younger, and nobody else knows that they secretly know each other. Like, what the fuck? What? How can all of that be thrown in the first 50 pages? Like, make it make sense. So that's the setup. The only reason I finished this is I was like, how the hell is she gonna pull off wrapping up all these loose ends? And the payoff, I'm telling you, it did not pay off. So yeah, it was low. It's a 2-star for me. I rarely have 2 stars because I just don't finish books if I'm not liking them. But yeah, not for me. Won't be continuing in the series. If you love just a crazy, wild, absurd plot and you can get down with that, then this is for you. I don't hate on that. You do you, boo, but that's not for me. So if you want a crazy time, this might be for you. Otherwise, we're getting rid of it. We are getting rid of it. All right, next one was a real disappointment. So this was in my Catapult Publisher Taste Test video. And this is Portrait of an Unknown Lady by Maria Gainza. This is translated from the Spanish by Thomas Bunstead. And there were things that I liked about this. This follows a woman who is feeling very lost, like young 20-something woman feeling very lost, and stumbles into a job with an art critic who also works for an auction house. And she just is super enamored by this art critic. And soon into the book, the art critic dies. It's not a spoiler or anything, that's in the blurb. And then before she dies, she finds out from the art critic that she previously had a relationship with a forger, a very famous forger who used to do forgeries of, what's her name? Mariette Lidis, and was very successful, never caught, people never knew. The main character makes it her mission after this art critic has died to go and try and find the forger and find out more. So that's the journey of this story. It's very slow pace, and this is told in an interesting format. So it's experimental in certain ways. Like some of it is in interviews, some of it is descriptions of art pieces and their prices, like an auction house would do. And it has a lot to say about what is plagiarism, what is forgery, and how do we define that? Like, is it a forgery that she's putting quoted transcripts in here? Is it a forgery that she's putting quoted descriptions of art in here? What does it all mean? I just think this was like severely lacking in emotional depth. I just like could not connect to anyone. I couldn't feel invested. The ideas were interesting, but it didn't have anything else to tether it. So that is why it was disappointing for me. But that is Portrait of an Unknown Lady. All right. Next one is a middle grade mystery series. This is number 2 in the series, and that is The Deceivers. This is by Margaret Peterson Haddix, and it's published by Catherine Teagan Books. This one, like I said, is the middle in a series. The first one in this series is called The Strangers, I believe, and it follows a group of children whose mother goes missing, seemingly around the same time that these doppelgangers of the 3 of them appear. And they're trying to discover what is going on with these children that look exactly like them and have the same names as them, and what happened to their mother. And they decide to start investigating. So it's an enjoyable middle grade series mystery. There's one more left. It's a trilogy, and I plan to pick that up in 2023. But yeah, enjoyable overall. You know, I don't want to tell you what goes on because it will spoil it, I think. But yeah, if you're interested in middle grade mystery, I definitely think these are worth the pickup. All right, next one was overall fine, but I think disappointing to me because I had such high expectations of it. And that is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead by Olga Tokarczuk. And this is translated by whom? This is translated by Antonia Lloyd Jonas, and I believe it's translated from the Polish. Is it translated from the Polish? I think it's translated from the Polish. So this follows a woman, an older woman, whose neighbor dies in the beginning of the book. And she decides, along with her other neighbors, to start investigating into his murder. And things unfold from there. I think this had a lot to say about nature, about climate change, about the way that we view animals and the distance we put from animals and ourselves as living beings, and some of the inherent problems with that. Again, I think this is having a commentary on ageism in some regards, and the ways in which we devalue people that are older. Yes, there are lots of good themes going on in here. I just think the pacing was off in this. There were parts where it was hard to get through, and I didn't love the pieceiness of this. Like it didn't feel as fluid as I wanted it to. And there was a lot of repetition that just wasn't an enjoyable reading experience for me. So fell a little flat for me overall. Appreciated the themes again, but didn't fully work for me personally. So that is Drive Your Plow Over the Bones of the Dead. Next one is a library book that I picked up, and that is The Woman in the Library by Sulari Gentill. And this was published by whom? Poisoned Pen Press, which is a great name for a mystery imprint. This one was very buzzy this year. It was a 2022 release, or I should say last year now, because we're in 2023. It's a book within a book within a book. It's very meta, and that's part of the story. So it follows an author who is writing a murder mystery book and is sending chapters to a fan and is getting their feedback on the chapters. And that book is a murder mystery about these 4 people in a library who hear a scream in the library and find someone who has been murdered. And you know at the beginning of the book that one of them is the murderer. So they decide that they want to investigate together, and you as the reader are trying to figure out who it is, and you're getting the feedback from this fan about these chapters that give you like some more information. Then within that book, one of the characters is an author herself and is starting to write a novel based on the events that they are investigating. So book within a book within a book. I enjoyed some parts and thought it was really clever. So the book within a book, which is the main chunk of the story that we're getting, I thought was really interesting. Clues that get unfolded, I think were done really well. I will say for me, it's like, I don't think this book is trying to like keep who did it from you. I think it was pretty obvious who did it because there were so many red herrings about every other character except for this one character. So it's like, I think they're wanting you to know. But the reason why I didn't love this, I just gave this 3 stars, and it's a little bit of the like meta-ness of it. I just thought it was like tonally not what I was looking for. Yeah, so on the nose, like too on the nose for me. I like on the nose stuff. I like satire, but it was too on the nose for me. And the thing that truly pissed me off and put me over the edge is the last sentence of the book. It just made me so mad because it throws in a wrench at the end that makes no sense. If you know what that is supposed to mean, please tell me below. Put like spoilers above so people don't see and explain it to me, because I have no idea what the fuck that means. And it just pissed me off. So I don't like when people do that right at the end, like throw something totally fucking random in it. And no. So I think the book was mostly cleverly done. I appreciated the writing. I will pick up something that the author writes in the future, but this book in itself had just things that I personally really don't like in a mystery novel. So that's why it is where it is. Next one is another library book and another 22 Buzzy release, and that is The Maid. And this is by, who is this by? Nita Prose, that's who it's by. Thank God I remember that. And this is published by Ballantine Books. This one was, I think, good, not great. It follows a maid who is on the spectrum, and one day when they are cleaning rooms, they find a dead body in the room, and they are implicated in the crime. So she decides that she needs to try and exonerate herself. I think she can be a little bit of a two-dimensional character, and that's one of the things I didn't love about it. But I think the crime itself and how they put together the clues is interesting, similar to the last one. And it's pretty like hopeful and optimistic in tone, so it's not like a really dark, gritty mystery. It's pretty light. So if you're looking for that like classic whodunit style, this is a good one to pick up. Yeah, there was just some like unbelievable parts to it that I didn't love, but that is The Maid by Nita Prose. Next one on the list, which is classified as mystery on Storygraph, and I mean, kind of, I'm putting it here because it said it was mystery, but that is Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. This is published by Penguin, and this follows a family of which the eldest daughter has gone missing. And we get the POVs from every family member. So the 2 parents, her brother, and her sister, who the sister is much younger, and see all these flashbacks of experiences they had with the daughter, whose name is Lydia. And they're trying to piece together what they think might have happened and interactions and clues that they might have missed before. So you're getting information slowly, little by little, to try and figure out what happened to Lydia. We get to see a lot about parental grief and parental failures. We see a lot about the immigrant experience and what that is like. We get to experience some ageism in both respects. So like the young daughter is really not taken seriously because she's young, even though she might be the most observant of the whole family. And there's just a lot going on here. A lot of good things that I enjoyed. I would say the mystery element is maybe secondary to just the familial drama, but I did overall enjoy this, and a lot of people love it. It was one of the books that I read for my books that have been on my TBR the longest blog, and yeah, I'll link that down below if you're interested in hearing more about it and seeing the other books that I read with it. But yeah, that is everything I never told you. All right, number 2 on this list is a series. And I'm sure you were just waiting for this to come up on here. So I'm gonna lump the whole series together at my number 2, and that is the Veronica Speedwell series. I read the first 5 books in this series this year. This is by Deanna Raybourn and published by Berkeley. This is so good. This is a period murder mystery that takes place in Victorian London and follows Veronica and Stoker. Veronica is a butterfly scientist, Stoker is a taxidermist, and they investigate and solve murders. So Veronica is very mischievous, tenacious, driven, intelligent woman, and Stoker is also very intelligent, gruff, cantankerous, and has a heart of gold. So it's very like classic kind of stereotypical characters, but just ones that you love rooting for and love seeing on the page. There is some secondary romantic plot in this, so know that going in. If you don't like that, that is in this, so it might not be for you. It's done so well though. I very much enjoy that secondary plot to these books. And yeah, I just love them. This was probably my most fun reading experience of the year. I have not wanted to tear through the pages of books like this in so long. And I've just loved it. And I'm enjoying kind of continuing on in 2023. So if you like Sherlock Holmes, I think you'll really like this. They have similar vibes. Like the unfolding of the mystery is similar, I think, in both of them. And yeah, highly recommend this if you're looking for a new murder mystery series. All right, the number 1 on my list for mystery books is, again, probably not a surprise because it was on my best books of the year list, and that is Elena Knows by Claudia Piniero. This is translated from the Spanish by Frances Riddle and published by Charco Press. Ooh, this is so good. This follows Elena, whose daughter has appeared to have committed suicide. At least that's how the police are ruling it. But Elena feels that she knows that her daughter would not have committed suicide in the manner in which it appears that she might have. So she decides that she needs to find help to continue this investigation into her daughter's death. The reason she needs help is because Elena has Parkinson's and is very much struggling with her mobility. So this book is framed in the amount of pills that Elena needs to take in order to get her body to move. Her movement is very painstakingly slow, and we follow the 24-hour period of her trying to make a journey from her house to another person's house to ask them for help. I loved the framing of the medication in here. I loved the forcing you to sit in the difficulty of moving for someone that has Parkinson's, and that being mirrored by the slow and agonizing pace of the book sometimes. I think this has a lot to say about abortion in general, but particularly abortion in Argentina, and what it means to be a mother and what it means to be a woman, and what it means to have choice. And I think that was done really well. I also think this has great discussion on what it means to be a caretaker and how devastatingly hard that can be to be someone's caretaker. This has so many great things about it. It's 150 pages and writes about heavy topics so well in that 150 pages. And I just Loved it. I thought it was so great. I think everyone should read this. Again, I've said this every time I've talked about it, but I think this is just an objectively well-written book. Even if it's not to your taste, it's well-written. And I can't wait to see what Claudia Piniero has translated next into English. I know Charco Press is coming out with something in June or July from her. So can't wait to read that and want to push this in everyone's hands. So please read Elena Knows. It's so good. And it was my top mystery book of the year. All right, we made it. Hope you're feeling mysterious. Hope you're wanting to go out and solve a murder. Hope you're psychoanalyzing all the people around you right now. And I can't wait to solve more murders with you in 2023. So I hope you had a great reading year. If you had any mysteries you loved, please let me know. And if you have any thoughts about the books that I listed here, whether you think they're in the wrong space on the list or whatever it might be, please put that down in the comments and we can chat it out. So with that, I will see you all in the next one. Bye.